Hello, hello. Happy Sunday. I hope everyone is having a great weekend and that your Sunday has been good. I am getting my stuff together, excited to be with you today on this lovely Sunday. We'll give it a few minutes, see if we have some folks that decide to join us. Hopefully, we will. But if not, I know a lot of you go back and look at the replay. I know Sunday evening can be a little challenging getting online. I know a lot of people are, school's back in session and work tomorrow. So you may be getting your lunch, meal prepping, getting ready to getting clothes ironed and whatever for the week. So I do understand, but I appreciate you going back and watching the replay. So it's been almost 2 minutes, coming up on 2 minutes since I hopped on. So at the 2 minute mark, we're going live. And guess what? It is the 2 minute mark. So this is really kind of a continuation of the last live that I did, which was about new construction tips and, builder incentives, things like that. And because resale inventory is still so low, there are a lot of people that are opting for new construction. And also with the builders offering certain incentives, it's helping people to be able to purchase and not have to come out of pocket, so much. So definitely understand why people are going the new construction route. So, all right. I am so glad to be in front of you today. I appreciate you joining, and I'm just going to hop right in. And I do have some notes, so you may see me looking down at my paper because sometimes I'll get off track. So I just want to be sure that I stay on point with sharing these new construction tips with you. So the first one I wanted to talk about is pricing. So new construction pricing. More than likely, if you pass a new construction community and the sign entering the community says starting in the low 400s, just know more than likely the base price is really starting somewhere at about 450. And the base price does not include your upgrades, and it's not going to include your lot premiums. Now, not every builder has lot premiums, but for the builders that do, you may have like your corner lots, which oftentimes are larger, or you may have the lot that's in the cul-de-sac or a basement lot. Most of the time, those lots come at a higher cost. So there's a higher lot premium for those. Also, when it comes to pricing, the people that buy in the new construction neighborhood first, so the people who get the initial pre-sales, those people are the ones that are really going to benefit from the equity. Because with new construction builders, most builders have a price increase after a certain number of contracts. So the builder may put 5 homes under contract or 3 homes under contract, and then they have a price increase. So that means they really are helping you build that equity. So the first homes in that subdivision may have sold for $420,000. Well, when they put those first 5 under contract, they had a price increase, and now instead of the home selling for $420,000, now they've gone up, we'll just say, to $432,000. And so they do that after, like I said, after a certain number of contracts are sold. That's standard for most builders. So that's pricing. Number 2, we talked last month about clauses and knowing the contract and reading the contract. So a couple clauses that you will find in the builder's contract. One is the appraisal clause. So you want to know what to expect if the home does not appraise at the price that you're under contract for. What does that mean to you as the buyer? And 99% of the time, it means you will have to go forward and be able to pay the difference. One thing that we saw back in 2020 was a lot of builders put in escalation clauses in their contracts, which I'll tell you now, with on this side of COVID, we're not seeing that because we're not having the supply chain issues that we were having where lumber was so expensive. So I haven't seen this lately, but you still want to make sure that there is not an escalation clause in your builder's contract. And that escalation clause means that the builder can increase the price of the home if their lumber or if their construction costs go up for whatever reason. They have a clause in the contract saying that they can go up on the price. So that's something to look for, escalation clause, and see what the appraisal clause says in the contract. And the appraisal clause, just to go back to that, that's another reason why you don't want to put in or go over the top with your upgrades, because you really don't want to be the most blinged out home in the subdivision, because when you do that, you run the risk, because what the appraiser is going to do, they're looking at homes that have sold in the past. You know, that your same floor plan, but what did it sell for? So if you have come in and put in $40,000 worth of upgrades, more than likely there's not going to be anything else over there that has sold for that price, and that's going to cause an appraisal issue. Okay. So number 3, when you are setting your budget, don't forget to include things that are not a part of your contract. So for example, you may have to buy your own refrigerator. That's one thing that during COVID, builders stopped providing refrigerators in these new homes because, again, there were supply chain issues and they weren't able to get them. They were on back order and people were closing, and refrigerator wasn't showing up for a whole 6 months later. So you can imagine the drama and the nightmare behind that. So budget for your cost outside of your contract. Maybe you have a pet and you need to fence your yard in immediately. You may also need to buy window treatments. A lot of new construction, they don't come with blinds. In some cases, we're able to negotiate that for you, but you need to think about blinds and all the windows in your home, or window treatments, curtains and things like that. So always factor those items into your budget when you are looking at new construction. Number 4, what I wanted to share with you is what I believe. Well, I'm going to do this one last. So number 5, we'll talk about inspections. So inspections for new construction versus inspections for resale. So with resale, you get your home inspection completed during your due diligence period. And your due diligence period here in the state of Georgia is the time frame that you can back out of a contract without penalty. So we get the inspection during that time, and when the inspection report comes back, we sit down, me and my buyer, and we look through that inspection report and we prepare a list of things that we want the seller to fix. Now, let me say this. The items that we're asking the seller to fix typically are big items. So if it comes back showing a roof leak, or it comes back saying the furnace isn't working, or the air conditioning isn't working. So those are the things that we are negotiating for the seller to repair. We're not going back and forth on, little items, because the inspector is going to document everything. I mean, he's going to document that you need to seal around, the toilet. So but that's not something we're asking the seller to fix. So I just wanted to make that clear. And if the buyer is not satisfied with what the seller has agreed to fix, in a resale contract, the buyer can back out or terminate the contract and get a refund of their earnest money. So they get their earnest money back. So within that due diligence period, like I said, you can back out for any reason and you don't jeopardize your earnest money. Now, that is different with new construction, because with new construction, you get your inspection and you give the builder the items that you want them to address. And you cannot back out and get your earnest money back if the builder does not fix the items that you want them to fix. Most of the time, the builders are very easy to work with. But sometimes you do get builders that, are difficult, and they, if it's not a code issue, they may not want to fix it. So that's the difference between new construction and resale. All right, now, lastly, so this is my last tip regarding new construction. So when is the best time to buy new construction? In my experience, right when the community first opens is a good time to get in. One, we've already talked about that equity that the builder is going to help you get. But when I say best time, I mean as far as negotiation, what you may be able to get more. But still at the very beginning, because most builders want their pre-sale numbers to be good. So they're going to offer some really good incentives to get people to come in when they first break ground. Another time is most of the builders are publicly traded companies. So they have to report their numbers. So when you get close to the end of a quarter, may be a good time to buy, because they're trying to hit those sales goals that they put out at the beginning of the quarter. So they want to hit those numbers. So that's why at the end of a quarter is a really good time to buy. Another time is close to the holidays. So when we get in December and people's attention have started to focus on purchasing gifts and, things like that, we see the traffic in new home communities tend to decrease, because people are thinking about, like I say, shopping and, buying things like that. So making big purchases kind of is put on the back burner during the holidays. So December is a good time to consider buying, because traffic in the new home community has slowed down. So, and in my experience too, what I have found is that builders are more apt to negotiate on their incentives as well as upgrades versus the price. So these are my five new construction tips for you. As far as incentives, what I've seen lately is some of the D.R. Horton communities, not all of them, but they have a few communities where they are offering to give you a 5.5% interest rate, and that includes an interest rate buy down. Also, they are giving a $15,000 incentive toward closing cost. And of course, that is with the use of their preferred lender. And I actually saw this last week, but keep in mind that incentives are subject to change, but that's what they were offering when I looked at their information last week. So I appreciate you tuning in. I hope this has been helpful, and I hope that you will continue to watch these videos. Stay tuned in. I'll be back next Sunday, and next Sunday I'm actually going to talk about things to look for with FHA loans. So that's what we're going to talk about, is FHA appraisals, inspections, and what they look for when they come out. So I will see you next Sunday. I appreciate you tuning in. If you've got questions about new construction or questions about buying or selling real estate at all in the state of Georgia, give me a call. I help people just like you every day relocate to the Atlanta metro area, and people like you buy and sell real estate all day, every day. So thanks for tuning in. I'll see you next Sunday.